things that happen sometimes. We may sing songs, we may hear certain things, we think, where did that come from? And I'm going to ask one of our more mature men, Martin Saxby, who's going to come and share the meaning behind a hymn that we're going to sing today. Because when you hear what it's all about, it really can impact the way that you sing it. So Martin, thank you. Let's give Martin a massive round of applause. Thank you.
So, what makes a good hymn or a good song? For me, because I'm a bit of a musician, it's the music. I always actually go for the tune first. So the first thing that really grabs me about any hymn or any song is the tune, the rhythm, the melodies, the harmonies and that sort of thing. But the next essential thing for a great hymn is the words, because we're singing to God. And so the words that are so important. But not all songs have got great words, but some have got great words. So I'm looking for great words. And the third thing that I'm looking for is the backstory. What lies behind the words of that hymn? And the hymn I'm talking about this morning is "It Is Well With My Soul," or sometimes known as "When Peace Like a River." And it's one of those hymns that is a great hymn that can move me to tears. Just as I'm singing it, the tears can just start to roll like the sea billows roll that the words speak of in the hymn. You know, life can be very unpredictable. Things can be going great, and then suddenly things change. And we just had a sad example of that just over a week ago. Dr. Michael Mosley, on holiday with his wife, goes for a walk, never came back. How do you deal with something like that? The words of this hymn were written by a chap called Horatio Spafford. What a wonderful name, Horatio Spafford. 150 years ago, he was a very successful lawyer in Chicago, and he had lots of property that he was developing in Chicago. He had a wife, he had 4 daughters and a son. Everything was great. But then things started to go wrong. His son died of scarlet fever. And then in the city of Chicago, there was a great fire that burnt down most of the buildings, including all the ones that he'd invested lots of time and money in. And then a couple of years later, as a result of that fire, the whole city experienced an economic downturn. So things were really bad for the Spafford family. And he decided that they needed a holiday. So he sent his wife and his 4 daughters on a ship to England. It was a French ship called, forgive my accent, Ville du Havre. And the idea was that he would join them later, because he got some pressing business that he needed to do, things that he had to sort out. But he wanted to get to England because there was going to be an evangelistic campaign led by someone called Dwight Moody, who was a kind of Billy Graham of the day. So that was the plan. But while the ship was crossing the Atlantic Ocean with his wife and his daughters, they had a terrible collision with another ship, a British ship called Loch Earn. And the ship Ville du Havre sank in 12 minutes. 226 people died. All 4 of Spafford's precious daughters went down with that ship. His wife Anna survived, and as soon as she could, she sent a telegram to him. A simple telegram. Saved, all alone. What shall I do? Horatio immediately set sail for England himself to be with his wife. And the captain of the ship that he was on knew of his story, of his tragedy. And as they sailed over the spot where his daughters had drowned, the captain told Horatio that this was where the shipwreck had happened. And as Horatio was on that boat thinking of his daughters in their watery grave, the words came to him. when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast caused me to say, it is well with my soul. Spafford was paraphrasing actually words there written by Julian of Norwich in 1373. Some of you may have heard the words, and all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And so in this hymn, Horatio gives us words of comfort, hope, assurance for when we face times of physical and spiritual crisis. And he had a good friend who wrote good music, a chap called Philip Bliss. So Spafford asked him to write the tune to go with the hymn, and Bliss called that tune Ville du Havre, after the ship that sank in the Atlantic Ocean. And I can remember singing that tune and these words of Spafford with much gusto when I was facing an uncertain future, undergoing treatment for cancer a couple of years ago. I was able to sing, it is well with my soul. So these words recognize that in our trials and spiritual sufferings, as a result of the sufferings of Jesus and the power of the cross, all our own sufferings, spiritual, emotional, physical, one day will be removed, and we can declare right in the midst of them, it is well with my soul. Let's stand to sing.